I'm Jonica Newby. I'm a former vet, now a reporter for the ABC's science program Catalyst. Tonight's Australian story is about an unlikely friendship between a former wildlife ranger and a legendary 80-year-old conservationist. 10 years ago, Sean Willmore decided to do something about a vital issue on the front line of our battle to save the world's most spectacular animals. But it wasn't until he teamed up with the remarkable Dame Jane Goodall that things really started to change. This is Sean Willmore's story.
What I like about Sean the most is he's a doer. Some people call him a maverick. I don't see him that way. I just see a person who actually gets things done.
When I met Sean, he was a tortured person and he was prepared to take risks.
Where he's living in the tram right now seems amazing. So maybe that's sort of worked out well for him.
I sold my house, so I live in a tram now, and it's kind of perfect for me, and it's really cosy and comfortable. I'm preparing my little palace for a special visitor, I suppose, and it's I spend a lot of time on the road, and sometimes I come back and things get a bit dirty, especially when you've got an outside bath. It always gives me a smile on my face when I'm doing some international call overseas with maybe some high-profile person or some organisation, and they're in a fancy office and I'm on the deck looking at the ocean. I think I've got the best office. Yeah, no worries. I'll send the photo out on social media. And
Sean's just as comfortable talking to world leaders, musos, celebrities, British royalty, as he is to wildlife rangers in the field.
Yeah, thanks for checking in.
I know that he had conversations with Prince Charles. He said, you need to act now, you need to do things, And he goes, OK, Sean, and I think that's what they kind of like.
All right, catch ya.
When Sean told me about the condition in which he found so many of the rangers, it completely rang a bell, because I know that this is the case. And to meet somebody who actually wanted to do something about it was, for me, very exciting.
Dr. Dame Jane Goodall, she's a person of integrity, and she discovered that, humans aren't the only ones that make tools, and she redefined humanity, really, and our connection with animals.
In here is Wunda, and here she is about to come out into this paradise. She's the 15th chimpanzee to get her freedom here.
Maybe like a lot of great people, she just had this serenity about her.
The big problem in Africa and other countries is the poaching of animals.
There's a booming middle class in Asia that wants ivory. There's people working on demand reduction to educate the community that elephants do die, and actually rangers die and poachers die. There's actually a lot of blood stained on those ivory trinkets.
The elephants in particular, but the rhinoceros, the tiger, a lot of those populations are being put to the brink of extinction because of just huge increase in demand for the products, and also, I will say, organized crime's involvement. They've gotten their gangs and their militias and their weaponry involved, so that it's really become quite a sophisticated war.
It's like the war on drugs, basically. Anyone who gets in the way of ivory, they're collateral damage. The collateral damage is the rangers. Poachers feel they have no problem killing rangers.
I was 32, working as a park ranger in a good park south of Melbourne by the coast. Had a house overlooking the ocean. Pretty great stuff. I go to an International Rangers Congress and that was all blown away by meeting some rangers from around the world that showed me machete wounds in their scalp and bullet holes in their bodies. Most people assume that rangers are supported adequately by their governments, but often the governance systems aren't very good in those countries. So the rangers that don't have training often don't have gear, and there's certainly no compensation schemes of any meaningful level for if they get severely injured, lose a hand maybe, or are killed. We asked them to do this really dangerous work, and well, when you've got 500 militia going into a park and poaching, all armed with AK-47s and sometimes rocket launchers, rangers are going to come off second best. I went back to work and something changed in my thinking, and I knew I couldn't just stay there, and I decided to sell the car, remortgage the house, and I thought maybe I should make a film that I didn't know how to make. It's about the men and women behind the scenes of frontline conservation who strive for nature's protection.
Sometimes they can go like this and they draw using the mouth. Sometimes they can, put the arm and draw from the far.
Sean raised about $100,000 from the film, which was great because that enabled him to set up the Thin Green Line Foundation, which was used to distribute funds to the widows and families of rangers who were actually killed on the front line.
Yeah, this is the house.
You visit a lot of rangers and we've got them equipment, sleeping bags, mosquito nets, boots, things to do their patrols with. So some food, we need food, mosquito nets,
mosquito nets,
some more equipment,
and
a soccer ball.
Yeah.
Cosmos and Oscar, they're going to take us in to look at the lowland mountain gorillas. The gorillas symbolise the really brave work that rangers do, and I know of many rangers that have lost their lives protecting both the gorillas but also all the other animals in that ecosystem. These rangers help protect these gorillas. Without them, these gorillas aren't there. So you need to think about that when we go see wildlife and support these guys. So the bullet came in here?
Yeah.
I know rangers have shown me bullet holes and tell stories of losing their colleagues, and I've also witnessed the burial of a ranger the very same day he was shot, tortured and killed there. So for me, I suppose it becomes very personal. You look, just over these robbers and thieves, and they're in the park, national park hunting probably as well. When I started Thin Green Line, it might have been me alone, but there's been a lot of people involved along the way, and people like Gotye or Wally. Wally's a friend, so he actually had no choice about getting involved.
I've tried to just bring awareness through speaking about it at concerts, through things online, Facebook and Twitter, raising money with fans donating. I've donated myself. And it still sort of feels like so little to me, I guess, when I look at the work that Sean does and how immense the issues that he's trying to tackle are.
The very day he went #1 in the United States, he emailed me from his tour bus and said, I've got an idea to raise some funds for Thin Green Line. And wow, I was impressed with that. It shows a bit of integrity. And maybe it was a bit of a touchstone for him to something real amongst all the hype.
Sean does have high-profile supporters, but it's essentially Sean doing all the work himself, and eventually that takes its toll.
I'll admit there's sometimes I'm sick of being Ranger Sean. I've got my days where I just want to hide away from the world.
It's only natural. You get down, and the tasks that you need to achieve can just seem too enormous. And you're knocking on doors, and 3 are getting closed down, and it's always 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
But there was one occasion I actually wrote my own will because I felt like I was dying.
Sean was really run down, And eventually he took himself to a specialist who diagnosed that he had some rare tropical parasite on top of dengue fever. And the doctor said if it was untreated, it could have killed him.
About 4 years ago, I mean, I was going through some tough times financially, but also, you know, recovering from illness. And one thing I've come to realise in this work is serendipity. And a phone call came through that, you know, maybe come down to the Melbourne Zoo and there's a small chance you might meet Jane Goodall.
Sean asked a question and came up and talked to me afterwards, and he told me, you know, how concerned he was about the rangers in Africa and that he'd gone there for a holiday. And he discovered that, first of all, the rangers were not being paid a decent salary. Secondly, they didn't have the right sort of equipment. I mean, they weren't well equipped to do their job. And thirdly, if they died in the course of duty or became disabled, which happens so often, then their widows were thrown out of the house, which was needed for the replacement, and the children had to be taken from school, and that his heart was torn by this information, and he felt he had to do something. This is attention-getting. He is very happy we're here.
And then she went round for the rest of her tour mentioning Thin Green Line and what I was trying to do. I remember getting an email. It was from Jane Goodall. Sean, I was blown away by what you're doing and I'll help in any way I can. I read it a dozen times. Jane Goodall's emailing me and she's interested in what we're doing. Well, you know.
It was basically me telling Sean that he could use my name, that he could tell people that I supported him in his efforts, that I thought he was doing the right thing. And really, he took it from there and used my name in the right way. Hello, this is Jane Goodall, and my message is to rangers around the world. I've been in Africa for 50 years. I've visited many other countries too, and I know firsthand just the kind of dangers and hardships that rangers around the world are facing, especially those of you out on the front line.
Jane Goodall recognised in Sean that he was onto something, that he was protecting nature's protectors, and that was something in the world that no one else was really doing.
I'm really thankful to Sean Willmore for starting the Thin Green Line so that this can take out news of the suffering of the rangers and the bravery of the rangers, the courage of the rangers.